Hey everyone, and welcome to Whole Latte Love live streams. My name is Zach.
I'm John.
And today we're going to be going over the Bose Tamper, so an automated tamper today. And just as a reminder, we are looking at those comments. We have them down below at any time. So if you have any questions as we're pulling all these shots, we're going to be going through quite a bit of stuff today. So feel free to, let us know what you're thinking as we're going along. If we want to try anything, we should have a fair amount of time today to pull a lot of different kinds of shots as well.
This is going to be a fun one, a very in-depth one. We're going to pull a lot of shots today too, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, so a little bit about what we are doing today. We're going to be going over the settings of the Bose Tamper. So what this thing can really do, why we're using this, and then also the different heads that we can actually put on this tamper, and specifically why we would use these different heads. And we're going to prove this out in kind of real time using our press sensor and our Synchronica 2 today to kind of see the difference in extraction. And again, much like all of our other live streams, we're going to be tasting a lot of coffee. I feel like that's always kind of our focus, is how does this show up in our cup?
That's the entire idea anyway. We can look at numbers all day, which we're going to, but we're also going to see how things actually taste and how it affects the flavor of your coffee.
Yep. So with that, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So if we can get a close-up of this fun little cup right in front of me. So this is basically a clear see-through puck. So untamped, just a bed of coffee right now. So we kind of rigged it up so the sensor of this Bose can actually show the actual compression of this. So as we turn it on, it's nice and simple. It will just be triggered by any reflective object. So if you do have a portafilter that is blackened or has some other color on that, it might not work, just so you all are aware of that. But with most portafilters, it's going to be as simple as just throwing it on here. And then we're just going to go ahead and turn this to the side. As soon as it actually oh, I already messed up here. Let's see.
Oh, you might have to do it from the other side.
Like this? John's the pro at this.
There you go.
There we are. So you can see it just lightly tamps there. And you might be concerned of like, well, how many pounds of pressure does this do? Or why doesn't it go based off of pounds of pressure like you might have seen on our website? This is actually going based off of tamp depth, which in a lot of ways is more so what we're thinking of because of our actual head space. Is typically what I actually judge things based off of. Now, this does max out at a 25 pounds of pressure. So if you do, put it all the way up to the maximum, it's about 25 pounds of pressure that you'll see on that. So if you want anything lighter, I definitely recommend messing around with that setting.
Yeah, and I mean, that's typically what I'm looking for when it comes to tamping anyway. I want to get rid of the air pockets in the puck so that it's a much more uniform and dense puck, and I want to create some headspace as well. So, it's going to max out at 25 pounds, but as long as we've got everything compressed, then I'm happy.
Yeah, and it comes out with a beautiful puck every single time. It's extremely even. And then with some other tools like these different heads, we can really experiment with different kinds of flavor profiles with these sort of rippled patterns that really influence a lot of the directionality of your extraction. And then also this Convex tamp as well, which really kind of directs a lot of that influence of pressure towards the bulk of your coffee. And also kind of creates a barrier around the sides as well when we tamp that will prevent all that pressure from going outwards inside your puck and then kind of influence towards the center. But let's go ahead and see this in action with our base flat tamp. This is just going to be one tamp at a setting of 17 on here. And we're just going to go ahead and see how this tamps. So it's as simple as pressing the button. We're going to go ahead and get a good shot of this. We're going to just turn this on. The settings that I have on right now is just kind of a medium, slow sort of tamp. It dwells for a little bit, and it's just a single tamp. So this is our more basic tamp, I would say.
Okay.
And all I do is throw it right on. And you can see that dwelling time was a little bit longer, and I pull it off.
Wow.
And a very, very clean, even tamp
Now
every
look
single
all
time.
the way around the edge there.
Yep. And in
make sure
fact,
it's
I might
not-
grab this phone really
Yeah.
fast so we can really look in tight of this actual tamp. As you can see, all the way around, it's just completely even every single time, and a very nice, clean sidewall every single time.
Don't think I didn't notice that you did that in the air as well.
Yes, so this is the only time that we will recommend any sort of aerial tamping. And what do we mean by aerial tamping?
Aerial tamping is where you don't actually need the surface of a countertop or something like that to create the resistance when you're tamping. This is going to create the resistance for you. It's going to use the ears, I like to call them, of the portafilter, and kind of use that as it sort of tugs the portafilter ears and creates resistance that way. So you don't really need to have it against a surface like this. You can just tamp in the air like Zach just did. I've never seen that before in my life.
Yeah, so if you're pretty limited on space, I mean, this is a very basic tool that you don't need much on your counter anymore in order to have the best quality results. But let's go ahead and give this shot a go. So this is kind of our first attempt at just a flat, basic tamp with kind of a long dwelling time, where it just kind of sits at the bottom there, just ensures that it's well rested with inside our puck before starting that shot. So let's go ahead and get a good shot. If you want to go ahead and let the camera see this really fast.
Sure.
As he's in the way there. Oh, we're going to grab a different view anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. No, we got it. Oh, the phone. Okay.
Yeah, I think I hit a button when
right.
I picked it up. There we go.
All good.
So we're at just about where I wanted to be. This one's slightly, actually we're pretty much right on. We're at about 40 out, we did 20 in, and we were at about 23 seconds. I like to have this coffee at about 25 seconds. So we're right kind of within the ballpark there. Pretty happy with this though. So this I'm actually going to set aside.
Yeah, we are going to go ahead and test that TDS a little bit later, but we do want to show kind of what happens within these different kinds of heads as well. Because what we're looking for is a shot that will kind of come to the center as fast as possible. So we'll go ahead and get another shot of this when we first start the shot and see how fast it's actually coming into the center in comparison to other shots. So we're going to go ahead and actually switch this out to our next bottom base, and we'll compare our actual graphs between the two.
Cool. Sounds good.
So John, if you want to go ahead and pick your favorite base, whatever it might be.
You know, I'm kind of interested in this, the concentric circles base right here. And now I haven't done this yet, Zach, but it looks pretty easy enough. You just kind of screw it right in there.
Yep,
just like
exactly.
that. And that's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So already with this shot that we already pulled, we're going to see a little bit of a difference on our press sensor. So if we actually pull up the screen of our previous shot here, we should have that available. As you can see on this extraction, pretty basic extraction. There might be some little tad bits of, it pulled a little bit fast towards the end there.
Sure, yeah.
Also produced a lot of crema on that too, but
yeah.
We'll base that a little bit on taste shortly here. But we'll overlay this graph and see if there's a large difference between these.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
All right.
Now, why would you, in theory, Zach, why would you use the concentric circles tamper base?
Yeah, so usually I kind of think of it kind of like, you know those videos of people like digging a trench inside the sand in the ocean, and all of a sudden it just starts influencing that water, and then you have like a river, right?
Yeah.
This is kind of doing the same sort of thing at the top of your puck. So we're really influencing that flow of water, so it kind of evenly distributes and saturates our coffee towards the center. Cool. We're like giving away an easier path towards the center instead of the outside, much like how the Convex works to like create that barrier towards the outside of our walls. We're influencing that towards the center of our extraction.
Cool.
And that's the key thing here.
Cool. Yeah, so this is just a way to promote some even extraction, get more pathways through the entire puck going.
Exactly. So
cool.
We're going to stick with a similar setting on this one. A little bit later we can kind of see who can create the best sort of setting within this. But let's go ahead and stick with our same setting here and see how this actually performs on our rigged up portafilter as well here.
I'm going to go ahead and get us another shot going. We can see what this thing does.
Perfect. Yeah, so if we actually look in here, there's a little bit of concentric circle sort of design that it creates. And again, this is just going to be influencing that flow. And then I see, hi James, welcome. If you do have any comments, again, we're live right now, so feel free to drop some comments down below. So these concentric circles, just going to influence that flow, and it can actually change your overall flavor profile too. We'll see what this actually ends up showing as a difference in that extraction as well.
So I got a shot ready for you.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead. Same basic movement here. All I'm going to do is just ensure that it's on.
There we go.
And then a large dwelling time. And then as you can see here, it definitely has that rippling effect, and it's even all the way around that portafilter. So very, very beautiful
yeah, I mean,
tamp.
It looks
honestly.
cool too. That's the other
Yeah,
thing.
it does look cool.
Yeah. So the idea being that water is going to get in between this channel, that channel, and just kind of create all these pathways for a little more of an even extraction.
Yeah, and you can almost think about it that it is actually providing a little bit more force where it's a little bit deeper as well.
Oh, interesting.
So around these rings, it's just providing a little less force, so it really influences that flow.
Cool.
All right, so
let's see what we get.
let's go ahead and give it a shot. So I'm going to go ahead and ensure that we're all set up before this extraction. So we're really watching as we're starting this shot, watch where it's like coming to the center and how much it's actually showing towards the edge of our shot as well. All right, let's see how steady I can be here.
You're a good cameraman. Let's
go.
go.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. So as we can see, our extraction started basically directly
Pretty
towards
quick.
the center,
Yeah.
which is really what we're looking for. We don't want too much of that light orange pattern starting on the outside because that would show a lot of bypass, or that's like an indicator of a lot of bypass. Now this is just kind of showing a nice even extraction throughout, and you know, a beautiful crema
Yeah.
as well on that.
Now, you know what? This was another 23-second shot, so pretty consistent. I'm going to be really interested in how it tastes and how it lines up with the numbers. You know, if you want to do a TDS reading or something like that
Definitely.
as we go.
So
Yeah.
with each one of these shots too, we are going to be reading a little bit of a TDS. As we go to our last Convex tamp, we're going to set these shots to the side and then go through some settings of the Bose and how we might want to create our perfect shot, and then do some comparisons on flavor.
Nice.
James, the machine that we're using right now, this is the Synchronica 2, so it's new from ECM. So a great consistent machine that we're using with a press sensor as well, so we can really watch those extractions and kind of overlay what they really look like in comparison. If we actually want to bring that press sensor on the screen too, we can actually compare a little bit of these two extractions as well. So as we can see, it was very actually similar
Super
between
similar,
the two,
yeah.
and probably had a little bit more of a smooth interaction as well.
It looks a little more consistent than that first espresso.
But as you can see, that pressure profile is about 96% similar between the two. So it would be interesting to see where it compares on any sort of TDS
Yeah,
level.
that's going to be that's the kind of stuff that ends up blowing my mind. Like it looks the same, tastes different.
Yep.
Love that.
Entirely.
Yeah.
All right, so we just need to move on to the next now really fast. So we're going to go on to our Convex. So Convex is kind of a fun one. I've used it for many years actually to help influence that flow and that extraction. So I used to, in my old coffee shop, have two different tamps. I would have a flat tamp, and then I would actually have a convex that I would actually follow up with that as well.
Really?
So
You were tamping twice?
I was tamping twice because
No
I wanted
kidding.
that same even pressure towards the outside, and that created a wall, and then I kind of used a little bit smaller of a tamp to then do a convex. But I feel like with this, it's way more consistent. I just think back to those days, and it would have been so much better if I just had something like this.
Yeah. And that's kind of another thought that I have about this product. I'm excited to see the BOSeTAMPER in coffee shops. I can imagine 3 different tampers set up side by side, maybe with different settings on each for different coffees, different profiles, things like that.
Exactly.
So, and you know, not just that, in a coffee shop, you're going to save your wrist if you're just tamping 150, 300 shots a day. So I'm pretty excited to see what this kind of thing can do in the commercial environment too. But
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, back in the day too, part of our training regime when we were first getting on bar, in order to like line up to everyone else's tamp, because every shot would be kind of different, you know, I'd had everyone every week kind of go through and test their actual pounds of force using one of our scales that we had over by the roaster. Everyone would just like, okay, give me 35 pounds, try to match our friend's tamp over there that's already on bar, so we can kind of mimic what's going on and also quickly change our extraction as well through that different pounds of force.
And not just that, but tamping straight as well.
Yep, definitely. So lots of variables that end up changing if we were to just switch up to a regular tamp. And as we can see, you know, so far we've been extremely accurate, up to 96% accurate between tamps. So it'd be kind of interesting to also see how close we can maybe get with this.
Actually, that's a great idea. Let's do that too.
All right, so next up we got our Convex. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on here. And quick little tamp here. So this Convex is only very slight with the shape that it's creating. As you can see, you might actually not be able to see within here that it does just introduce a little bit more of a strong boundary to this coffee, so pressure doesn't kind of come off to the side and start any bypassing. And then we're going to influence that flow towards the center on this one.
Now I like that it's not too deep of a convex pattern. Just to promote evenness, you know, you don't want something so deep that your puck isn't really that even anymore. But it is promoting keeping a nice strong outer barrier against the sides of the basket, so that it's not channeling around the outside of the basket or bypassing on the outside of the basket.
Yeah, because if they went any farther with that, if you think about it, if they went any more convex, we're actually putting so much pounds of force towards the center of this basket, and that would really probably create a lot of bypass.
Right.
It would probably want to influence more towards the outside of that puck, unfortunately. But let's go ahead and get this next shot all prepped, ready to go, and get this Convex all set up.
Now, I'm also interested in exactly how many variables you can control on the BOSeTAMPER.
Yeah,
and
so
the menu and all that.
We do have a lot of different kinds of variables, and I kind of like to think of these variables that we're going to end up changing after this, kind of like how you want to mimic your own tamp. So when I first got the Bose, I really just thought about how I tamp my own coffee and how I would then want like my partner to then extract coffee or make it as similar as mine. So I think of it, it's like, okay, so I'm trying to tamp as level as possible. And what do? It's like, okay, I put a good amount of force into it. I also dwell for a long time, so I kind of sit there, and I also tamp twice. So if I'm gonna match my tamp for this setup, I would probably set this to tamp twice, longer dwell time, and that would actually match my exact tamp.
So you can kind of match your own tamp if you want.
Exactly.
Nice.
All right, so I have this on. We'll just go ahead and tamp this with a Convex. Again, just has that nice long dwell time.
And I can sort of see a little bit of the Convex going on here.
Yep, and nice and even. And sometimes with the Convex too, I like to tamp twice for this one.
Really?
So yeah, I'll do the similar dwelling time and then tamp twice, mainly to really create that border as well.
And that's the entire idea behind the Convex tamp anyway, so
exactly.
I completely understand.
All right, so there's that back for you.
Nice.
Espresso, or John is our espresso man today. Espresso is our John man today.
Figure that one out.
All right, so let's go ahead and see this extraction, how fast it actually comes to the center.
Let me move this over here a little bit.
All right, so, and again,
right away.
You know, kind of right away to the center. I didn't see any of the outside first. It just kind of fully and evenly saturated before this extraction, which is exactly what we're looking for. Wonderful.
Right. Very consistent. Another 23-second shot, 20 in, 40 out.
All right.
Nice. Now, and my theory is that is a function of how straight and even and consistent in terms of pressure the actual tamper is.
Yep.
And I think we're going to see differences in flavor and maybe TDS and things like that when it comes to the different shapes.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go ahead and go through some comments here. It looks like we have a couple. Oh, it's our very own Nick Brown actually inside the comments. So if you have any questions, especially technical questions, Nick Brown is definitely your guy.
Nick is in the building.
He knows a lot about everything going on this countertop right now. So,
oh, yes.
All right. So let's go ahead and now get into our next segment of actually changing these profiles now. So as you can see, everything is pretty similar over there. We can now see the influence of, okay, what will this dwelling time do? What will our time do? Like that speed of our extraction, or the speed of our tamp, and then tamping twice.
Cool.
So how is that going to influence what we do here, and what might we pick when first starting to dial these in? So for that, John, why don't you just go ahead and guide us through the settings?
Sure. All right, now to turn the tamper on, what you want to do is just press this little button right in the front here.
We almost got that on camera. Here
Yeah.
we go. There we go. All right.
All right, yeah. Now you're going to see 3 buttons. 1, 2, 3. To turn it on, all you do is just touch that button right there. Now to access your settings, you're going to go over to the left. I've got this upside down.
Yep.
Now, now we're going to see here at the bottom.
Yep. Perfect. Look at that. We
Hey.
already have it flipped, so
Oh,
you
fantastic.
can go ahead and do that.
All right, nice. So you press the button on the right, and it's going to take this little thing that says tamper down 1, 2, 3. This is going to be your tamp depth. And I like to have it at 17 to start, and we can kind of take it from there. If you want to start playing with some of the actual parameters that you can play with, you're just going to hold this. Now we're in dwelling time. We've got it set for 1 second. I'm going to keep it right there. You can either go up or down with this button over here, but I'm just going to keep it right at 1. Now let's go on over to the speed. I'm going to bring this up to a fast tamp. All right, ooh, that was medium. There we go. We're back at fast. Let's bring this over to tamp number. I've got it set for 2 right now. I'm going to bring this down to 1.
Oh, see, you're going 1. I've always been a 2 tamp guy.
You're a 2 tamp guy. You know, well, I'm kind of interested in what might happen if we just do completely extreme different tamps.
Yep,
you know,
let's go ahead and do it.
Slow 3 times, you know, that kind of thing. So let's go back to the home. There we go. All right, now that's your home screen. You can go up or down from here just to do the tamp depth, or you can just kind of get going with tamping right from there.
Yeah, so settings are extremely self-explanatory in a way. You know, there are some signs of like how I like to change some of those things, like the speed of your tamp. I mean, maybe you're trying to rush through something, you need it to be really quick. You can definitely do that within like a commercial environment, and then you can always tamp twice. Just ensure that you have all the coffee along the sidewall tamped in with that. So tamping twice really helps with that, or changing the overall speed will just ensure that you're creating this bed that is just then settled and leveled. That's
Right.
the biggest thing to keep in mind, is just like we're settling your puck all together. So all those little particles are all intertwined and good. And there are a whole bunch of different size particles too, so they might shoot out to the side. So this really puts in focus exactly what's happening in your puck.
Now, do you want to set a tamper for kind of like opposite parameters? We can kind of see how they pair up against each other. I'll get us some shots going.
So let's go ahead and go on the exact opposite with this one. So I'm going to go straight into my settings here. And with dwelling time, I'm going to go ahead and do a very fast dwelling time. Let's say 0.5 seconds, right? So I'm going for speed.
So not very much at all.
And then tamper speed, I'm going to go with fast. Tamping number, this is where I'm going to maybe increase to 3. So I'm tamping very fast, but I'm going to give it like a little 3-peat.
Cool. Are we competing right now, by the way?
We could. All right, so with mine right now, I just have it set as a quick 3-peat.
Okay.
Things are going to be working fast, but we'll see if I can come up to the same efficiency. Cool. Now, since I'm tamping multiple times, you're actually influencing a little bit more force. Sure, we're maxing out at about 25 pounds of pressure per tamp, but if I'm increasing the number of times that I'm putting that energy in, we can technically still settle it at a bit more pressure within that.
You do settle them even more every time you tamp, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you what, if you do that, this is what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to do dwelling.
Oh, this is now a competition.
Yeah, now we're there. Well, I just want to be completely opposite of you. I'm going to crank this all the way up. You're at 0.5 seconds dwelling time. I'm at 1.5 seconds
okay,
now. So now we're at total opposites.
I'm going to keep mine with the convex. What are you going to do with yours?
Oh, let's go...
Rippled?
Yeah, I kind of like the
okay.
rippled. Let's do it.
Let's go rippled.
All right, nice.
Again, we're trying to keep every parameter as similar as possible. As you can see, like everything that we were doing so far is 96% accurate between shots at this time. So we'll see how much this actually influences in comparison now. So I'll get this ready for the next shot on our press sensor, which is all ready to go.
Nice.
And we can really line this up.
Tell you what, want to go ahead and tamp, and then I'll follow right behind you with my rippled tamper base, or concentric circles tamper base. That's number 3 right there.
Yep.
Wow.
So it almost took the same amount of time as a longer dwelling time, but we'll see how this really influences. I'm seeing a little bit of coffee along the side, and again, that speed and dwelling time will kind of change that. So that's one thing that I can change, but if I'm quickly trying to like change my shot really fast, I don't want to go to my grind size yet, maybe I'm in a commercial environment or I'm just trying to pull something really fast, just upping that to 3 tamps really fast and then going for it.
It was still quick.
Still very fast.
Yeah.
All right, so
sweet.
We'll try my shot first.
Yeah, let's go for it.
You're still the espresso man though, so you're still gonna have to pull it.
Give me that. Let's go.
All right.
All right. As long as you can be the cameraman, then we're in good shape.
Perfect.
And you know what? Let me just make sure that we've got a nice stream coming down here.
All right.
Let's check this out. All right, beautiful. Now, let's get my scale here.
So this one we're going to go based off of taste too. So we'll go ahead and taste this one and split some cups here. So let's really get in nice and close on this one.
All right, now this had 3 quick tamps.
All right, so it took a little bit longer in that initial flow, but again, it was very even with that initial flow. I'm also seeing a little bit of channeling too that ended up happening just because of that dwelling time decreasing as well. So this is kind of giving us some signs that, okay, maybe this dwelling time is something that is also pretty important when it comes to actually settling that bed and ensuring that we're going to get a nice even tamp throughout all of these different particles, because as we can see, it immediately kind of had a different flow. And if we actually show that there we go. So that graph, this is that immediate difference within just our tamp parameters. That is the only thing that we ended up changing between these coffees, is that dwelling time. How long did we have that force on the puck, or are we just simply quickly triple tapping it? So this is how important your tamp is and how consistency is, because those parameters, that is an entirely different extraction.
Totally different shot.
Yeah. And if this is a comparison and a test right now, and I don't know if that's exactly what I would recommend. Sometimes that's what I would have to do. And sometimes what I did too within like a commercial environment, like, oh, I just need to tamp it 3 times. It's a whole different shot. It literally clears it's very clearly shown on that press sensor that it's an entirely different shot, and the only parameter that changed was the tamp.
that's the entire idea behind this experiment. I really want to, I think that what you can do with these tampers can really show you exactly what your tamping is really doing.
So let's go ahead. I'm going to set my shot as a reference now.
Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and tamp mine.
So I'm setting this as a reference, so we'll see how this compares to yours. Let's see the difference in that pressure and the overall flow.
All right. Now this was a fast tamp, very long dwelling time. And let's see what we have.
But
here.
let's
And
just
only
see that
one.
effect of
Yeah.
that dwelling time.
Let me
there.
grab this thing real quick here.
I'm very in the way right now
Yeah.
of our espresso man.
Get out of the way of the espresso man, huh?
All right. All right, let's go ahead and shoot for it.
All right.
All
Now
right.
I've
So-
also got the concentric circles plate on this one as well.
Yeah, and already an entirely different shot. So we did increase our pressure and our resistance because of that dwelling time. All right.
There we go.
So very similar to some of our first extractions here. So if we go ahead and stop that, let's go ahead and bring up the press sensor with how that pulled. All right, so very similar to our first shots. I mean, naturally, it's more similar to the parameters that we had before, but an entirely different shot just based off of these settings.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, even in terms of time, I mean, this shot finished at about close to 23 seconds, which is what a lot of these shots have been.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm also interested in the way that you had yours programmed. And, you know, that was just an experiment. I'm not holding any shots against
it's okay.
you.
Yeah.
But, but I would be interested in if you would want that kind of tamping profile, so to speak, with a different kind of coffee. It may just not work with this kind of like medium to dark roast that we've got working with us today. So
Exactly. So if you want to kind of like increase that flow, I would definitely start recommending this with some certain coffees, a lot of darker coffees that are maybe a little more easily volatile too.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want that kind of resistance that a lot of those fines that are going to give, and maybe you want a little more pressure and a little more flow through that extraction as well. They should all taste pretty different within these extractions.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and now turn into our tasting part of our comparison.
I've been looking forward to this part.
All right, so now with the knowledge of what we have now, what do you think would be the best tasting? So would it be something on a low flow like mine, or high resistance like yours, or even like the taste comparison between a Convex and the influence of this ripple? What do you think is going to be best?
You know, just judging by the way I saw the shots coming out of the portafilter, I think mine might taste best.
I agree.
If I may.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I'm very excited about the concentric circles plate because I think that it does promote some shot evenness. And as I was watching it come out, I was seeing quite a bit of liquid coming out all over the portafilter, but not channeling either.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was seeing a lot of evenness. I was very happy with it. So I'm going to be really interested in how that tastes.
Yeah, so I'm immediately going to change mine. That was a little too drastic of one side. Sure, that might fit alongside certain kinds of coffees and stuff, but not with our Crema Wave at this point.
Sure,
I want that natural resistance from the fines that Crema Wave can kind of create.
Yeah, what would you do? You know, that was a cool experiment to kind of do like polar opposites, just to see what you know, what the power of a tamp can really do.
Yep.
What would you do with this coffee?
All right, so I'm going to ensure that, you know, my tamping depth is pretty high, so I'm getting that full 25 pounds of pressure each time. So I'm going to now go into my settings, and I think the first thing I'm going to do is really change that dwelling time. We already saw such a huge difference within that pressure with dwelling time. That this is kind of one of the first things that I'm going to change. So I'm going to do that to about 1.25 seconds. I think that sounds perfect to me.
Nice.
And then I'm going to go ahead and slow this down. I don't care about speed on this one. I just want this to be as smooth and settled as possible throughout this extraction.
You want a very consistently dense puck.
Exactly. So this is going to be as consistent as possible. I'm not going to do 3, but I am going to do 2. This is kind of mimicking now my natural tamp. This is the settings that would be my natural tamp.
This is the Zach tamp.
This is the Zach tamp. This is just what it would be. So let's go ahead and use that for our benchmark here.
Cool.
18, I'm going to set that all the way up to 19 actually. full 25 pounds of pressure that way.
Nice. All right, let me get you a shot, and we can see how this thing goes.
I'm going to win, though. Just it's a Zach Tamp. I mean, how would that beat a John Tamp? I don't even know.
I don't know, man. The Latte art throwdowns, you take them, so.
True. Yeah.
I can't do that seahorse.
The seahorse is my specialty.
That's your trademark.
And if anyone needs to see that seahorse and learn how to do it, let us know in the comments, because we can definitely do some latte art Friday live seminars. So
Here you are, sir.
All right, so we have that nice even tamp. You didn't tamper with it too, right?
No,
Okay.
no, not well.
Tamper.
I mean, no.
All right, so let's go ahead and use my idea of the perfect tamp here.
And that was the second one right
Yep,
there?
so nice and slow with this process, and at that point we're done.
Nice.
All right, so as we can see here, pretty clean sidewalls, nice and even every single time. I just like that nice dwell time, going a little bit slower for all the coffee that might be on my sidewall, and then really settling down with that convex shape.
Cool.
So let's see how that now influences our flow.
Now, you have brought this up before. Coffees that have a little bit of oil, kind of a little sheen. This isn't a very oily coffee. It does have a little bit of a sheen, though. That dwelling time can kind of help some of those oils sort of bind together and create a really nice dense puck and a very consistent puck. Certainly no air pockets left in there. And also, I mean, you said that you did the max pressure. So
Yep.
full
Yeah,
25.
so we're going full 25 twice, so might be a little additional than 25. All right, so we'll go ahead and get straight into this extraction. I'll try not to be in your way.
You're just fine, sir. Here we go.
All right, and now I'm gonna actually taste this one afterwards too. All right, so a little fast with that initial flow.
Slowed down to something comfortable, though.
It did.
Yeah.
So that did show me that like that convex is really influencing to a fast initial flow in comparison to the ripple, where it is taking a little bit more time on that initial extraction.
Interesting. It did promote a nice center pour, though.
It did. Yeah, so either way with the ripple or that convex, it's really going to promote an extraction that evenly comes to the center and full extraction and saturation of that full bed.
All right, now yours is pretty hot, but this one is mine from earlier.
Oh, no, you need your new one here.
I'm doing a new one. Let's go.
Yeah,
Here
so
we
we're
go.
going to both try this one.
Okay, great.
And this isn't the best way to taste it, but we are doing bottomless extractions here, so.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and try this one. So this is a 2-tamp dwelling time focused on slow, even, convex. So now the biggest thing is that our tamps are pretty similar, but what does convex taste in comparison to rippled?
Sure. Here we go.
All right, so with this one, it's pretty smooth, it's bold. Definitely goes straight to like your dark chocolate note. There's a little bit of acidity that kind of comes through, which it's funny, it's almost, that acidity comes through as bitterness. I know it's opposite, but that's almost what it's doing.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Actually, that was a pretty quick shot. It was about like 19 seconds or so. I really don't mind that when it comes to kind of darker roasts.
Yeah.
The darker a coffee you have, the more soluble the coffee is. So you really don't need that much energy to get everything out that the coffee has to offer.
Yeah,
And
very
it kinda,
immediately soluble.
Yeah, exactly. So it kind of avoids over extraction that way. The dark chocolate note is actually really prominent and pretty obvious. It's right out front.
Yeah, I like it. It's not under extracted by far. It's not over extracted. So I would say this is a good overall shot of espresso. I'm excited to see the difference though between this ripple, because I do have a feeling that the different influence that pressure is taking is going to make it taste very different. And the reason why this is because the faster that we actually introduce these different temps of water through our coffee bed, influence different characteristics within flavor profiles as well, because there's different kinds of flavor compounds that are throughout that are interacting with different levels of that bed as well. So the deeper we can get into that bed with a similar temperature, it might taste sweeter.
That's right.
This might taste sweeter right now. So,
well, let's find out. I mean, this one, I didn't make any changes, so we're just going to do that hopefully 23-second shot. It's going to take a little bit longer than yours, but the brewing geography is going to be a little bit different because of that concentric circle plate.
Exactly.
So
And then also the consistency of how that temperature is actually permeating through.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
let's go ahead and...
Why don't we use this cup?
Perfect. Sounds great.
There we go. All right, show me what you got.
All right, so it took a little bit longer,
Yeah.
but straight to the center.
Oh, I'm getting
And there's a little bit of channeling.
Yeah, getting a little more channeling this time. All right.
What was the one thing that you changed on this? Did you
did-
change anything?
Nope,
I
didn't
don't think
change
you changed
anything. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I think you just gave me some bad luck. That's all.
Yep, that's all.
But you know what? The time actually was pretty similar. We're looking at like 19-ish seconds. Yours was like 18.8, something like that. So,
Yep.
so you know, aside from a couple of sprays, we're looking at pretty similar shots.
Yeah.
So,
And I think we actually have that comparison out on our press sensor as well. If we want to show the difference between these two shots, again, pretty similar parameters, just slightly different here.
now which yours was the one in tan, right?
Yep. No, mine is going to be the one. No, yours is going to be the one in the tan.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, and yours is the one. I see.
Yep.
All right. Well, here we go. Let's taste them.
All right.
Cheers, sir.
Cheers. Wish you could all try it.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Entirely different.
Whoa, this one is way heavier.
So it's heavier, but
Way
it's like a creamier texture too. So heavier on the tongue for sure.
Yeah,
Even
this-
though it's like literally almost the same amount of seconds out.
You're right,
The
yeah.
flow and like how it flowed through that puck was completely different.
Yep. Yeah, I'm getting a little, definitely more creamier body in this one. I would say if you put milk in this one, it's going to cut through super, super easily. This one actually like as a straight espresso.
Yep.
Yeah, there was enough kind of acidity and liveliness that I would just drink it just like that.
Yeah, this one's a little dull to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Not because it's not my choice, you know, it's yours.
It was
but,
my
you know,
choice. What
yeah.
can I say?
Yeah, I do like the more like the chocolate note that kind of comes through on the Convex.
Yeah.
For this one.
Yeah, me too.
It comes through a little bit sweeter in this way. This one comes through a little bit more dull in a way, but this influence of like maybe a heavier body that ends up coming out would be great for so many different kinds of coffees, though.
Yeah. Now, you know what I might do to fix some of that up might be, I only had one tamp programmed for that one.
Mm-hmm.
I might do two, keep everything else the same, even keep the dwelling time the same,
Mm-hmm.
even go to three, just to have a really consistent puck. And that you had two tamps on yours, right?
I had 2 tamps on ours. At this point, too, since we're at right around 19 seconds, too, we might go a little bit finer as well with our grind size. At this point, we're going to finally make that movement a little bit finer and see how that tastes.
Let's do it.
For Zen, we're using 20 grams in an ECM basket, actually. So a little bit of a aftermarket, nano-coated ECM basket.
You've got two Zens there. You've got the Zen Ginger as well.
Oh yeah, there's multiple Zens here.
Guess what?
Absolutely
Somebody
love
wants-
to see the seahorse. Yeah, totally. We can definitely do some seahorse classes together. Go through some latte art. One of these live seminars.
I'm going to need that seahorse training as well.
Yeah.
That is not in my...
It's definitely a tough one, but it's doable. It's very doable. For
not in
any
my
sort of
repertoire
drawing art.
yet. I'd be ready to learn it, Zach.
Yep.
Unless
got
you want
it.
to keep it to yourself.
No, it's fine. We're all okay. All right, so we'll make this last change. I do want to set now my last shot as the example
Cool.
of what we're going to actually see. So let's go ahead and put that on the screen.
Nice.
Set that as our reference now, and we're ready for our next brew. Whoop.
Zach and I just run into each other all the time.
Constantly, all
Yeah,
day.
all day.
All right.
right.
So what's really cool about the press sensor too is that we can actually get a percentage of how accurate these are together and how different they were in both flow and pressure.
Right.
So we can really see the difference of, okay, this pressure, and this flow really influenced in this characteristic. So,
Yeah, we're in a pretty lucky position to be able to use super consistent tamps and be able to witness everything on the press sensor.
All right, so are we going convex this time, or are we going rippled?
I really liked that convex flavor.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right,
I was actually very impressed.
Do we want to change anything, or at this point we just wanted to change our grind size?
I thought yours was actually very good. Let's just keep it with that.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
the only difference that we made on this one, we're keeping this exactly the same. We now changed grind size. We want to change one variable at a time as much as possible. You don't want to be changing all these variables within here because we already saw how drastic those variables can really throw off your shot. So try to keep these as similar as possible throughout your shots. You can use it as a tool, though, through your extraction. At this time, we're just changing grind size. A little bit finer, a little more resistance on this one.
Yep.
So let's go ahead, go with the winning tamp here.
If he does say so himself.
So there's those 2 full tamps again, nice and slow.
Nice slow tamps
consistent.
too. Yeah.
I've always been a big fan of this Convex, so I'm glad it's still proving out right. But
you know, and I don't hate the slow tamp as well.
Yeah.
Because on the way up, you don't want to promote suction and have it maybe dislodge the puck from the walls of the basket as well.
Yep.
So yeah, I appreciate the slow tamp too.
yeah, I think a long time ago we actually brought it up in a blog, I believe, or on Reddit, my suction puction theory, which you've seen within a lot of different tamps that might take the spot of one of these, where it's a calibrated tamp, but because of that back pressure and that force, it actually dislodges the puck. And that has to do a lot with that dwelling time. So without that dwelling time, it does have the chance to create a little bit of back pressure and really uplift the puck. So it really bypasses.
All right.
All right. So
Wanna party?
I'm more of a cappuccino girl. Would you actually be better off with the ripple? Yeah, I mean, I would go something with more of that body in that case.
Yeah.
Right. A little bit more full. And that would punch through really nice with milk. So specifically, ripple, milk drinks.
Yep.
Perfect.
I think you can't lose. I think if you also do pick up that ripple base, then I think you're going to have more options if you want to try and get more body out of your shot. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Yep.
So,
all right, so we have that all
yep,
set.
and we are ready to go.
All right, let's see if we channel this time. We did decrease our grind size, so let's go ahead and see what that finer grind size does.
Oops. There we go.
Oh, John.
All right. Now, we did make it finer. Did not make it super, super fine. Oh, yeah, I can already tell that we've got a little more resistance, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. A couple little channels in the middle there.
Nothing too much to really sway our taste, though. And that's a huge thing. You know, channeling is something that happens, and it also occurs a lot of the time with certain kinds of coffees as well.
That's right.
So it can be something that kind of naturally occurs with more dense coffees. So channeling isn't necessarily a bad thing. It could happen every single time, but taste everything.
Now, I remember when I was really getting into coffee science, some of the people I was following, you know, they would get very frustrated when people saw channeled shots, and they would just go, "That doesn't matter, taste it."
Yeah, taste it.
And it took me a long time to get over, but it's true. Taste it, because you might actually have a killer shot anyway.
Yeah, so today I actually did a lot of testing with a certain kind of coffee with these tamps, a Latte, which is a very kind of strawberry fermented sort of flavor profile. It did channel a little bit, but it created amazing crema and an amazing punch through milk as well. I actually had everyone try that one.
I missed that one.
John did miss that one, unfortunately. But
That's all good.
we had some.
We're doing this now.
All right, so
Cheers.
cheers. I think that was the right change.
It's big and smooth.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
big, smooth, comes through as straight sweetness. That's what I really look for in dialing in espresso alone. I want the first idea in my head to just be sweet.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's sweet.
You know
that's
what?
the idea that I want.
A lot of clarity in this shot too, which is not really known with kind of these like edging on darker roasts.
Yeah.
So whatever you did here, man, you're some kind of barista. You
Yeah.
know?
Some kind of thing, you know. I think we do know what we're doing. At this point, I calculated how many shots I've actually pulled in my life between all the coffee shops and everything over the years.
I should do that.
And it's been well over 1 million shots.
Wow.
Well over 1 million shots in my days. So a lot of that has to do with this hand tamp too. So my shoulders are busted. I'm very fortunate that I have these now because I use these on a daily basis now when doing all my testing. Not just to keep my parameters the same, but to also save my shoulder.
That's right.
And my wrists and my back, honestly.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of ability that you get from this, and I'm excited to see it within a commercial environment too.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait. Can't wait for that. Remember the stack of pennies on the elbow, making sure that you're tamping straight and everything. You know, don't let the stack of pennies fall over. Don't have to worry about that anymore. Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah, just get one of these.
Within that commercial sort of environment, you know, they do recommend, keeping these just right on the charger here that comes with it now, which is very nice. It's just a nice kind of print of a very nice holder that all you do is just
you just put it
flip
on there
it
and
upside
it just
down. We're about to get that. All right, there we go.
That's it.
So all you do is just flip it right upside down on that QI, and you are charging good and ready to go.
Yeah, so I can imagine a cafe with, like I said earlier, like 3 of these things lined up.
Yep.
3 chargers right next to, the grinders or by the espresso station.
You never have to worry about a battery dying.
No, you never have to worry about a battery dying. Maybe have like 3 of them set for different temps if you've got different coffees, or even, like we were talking about with a milk drink, like a cappuccino. Okay, this one is the Concentric circle tamper, and I'm going to use that one for my milk drinks. This is a shot of espresso. I'm going to use the Convex one. So I think there's some pretty cool possibilities here for cafes, and very happy baristas, happy shoulders, happy wrists.
Yep, and also at a great price, because things compared to this that are within the commercial environment are $1,000 more.
Yeah.
Literally $1,000 more. So in order to get any of that consistency.
Right.
The Zen Ginger was actually asking if there's such thing as a barista shoulder, kind of like a tennis elbow, and there totally is.
I was going to say, any comments?
Yeah, it's, it affects me a lot within the gym and all my numbers in my lifts because my right arm does give out a little bit more than my left.
Yep, and I get that too.
Yep, definitely. So definitely out there, definitely a thing. Let's see.
How many grams in the single portafilter? A single shot portafilter, I would probably keep it around 7 to 10 grams, depending on the size of your basket and depending on the coffee as well.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones right now is actually the BIT, so Barista Improving Taste single shot. That comes in like that 10-gram one. That one's amazing. Pairs extremely well with the Convex, specifically on that too, kind of matching the convex or the concave of that actual extraction,
right?
And then the concave actual imprint that you're putting in as well.
Yeah.
So those match up really well together.
Zach, I have a challenge for you.
Oh no.
One more question, then I got a challenge for you. Is that the Renato?
Renato, yep.
There you go.
Yep.
That's the one.
Yeah, and if you have any more questions too, Nick in the comments knows those baskets like the back of his hand.
Oh yeah. I've got a challenge for you. You just programmed that tamper to your tamp. Can I challenge you to use a manual tamper and see if you can recreate that and see how good you are at it?
Let's see. So we'll go ahead and bring up on our history this last extraction and see how close I actually am. So again, this reference that we're setting is that last extraction that we did. So let's go ahead and see if I can now match what we had up there with this manual tamp. Again, this is just kind of a basic ECM weighted, which is one of my preferences. I think it provides a nice even tamp with that additional weight. But we'll see how well this goes. This is a great challenge. So
I'll be impressed. I want 90.
I have to practice a little bit.
I want 90% plus accuracy from you.
So which is great about those stats that the press sensor. So I'm guessing that I might be within the 90-something%.
You know, I think if you can be around 80 plus, that's pretty good.
It'll be pretty impressive.
If you're around 90 plus, I'll be very, very impressed.
And this is where he's ruining the puck behind me, you know. Yeah, yeah. He's ruining it. Setting me up for failure here.
All right. Now, while you do that, why don't you show us your technique here, and we can see if you're anywhere near
Exactly
what this thing.
So as I
actually
approach a traditional tamp, I usually hold this kind of like a doorknob or a flashlight, and then I'm actually going to come kind of parallel with my countertop and take hold of my portafilter. So this is as flat as possible as well. I usually set this on first, and I feel my way around, right? I'm feeling as this is going down that this is as even as possible as well. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do that slow dwell, about 25 pounds.
And that was that second tamp right there.
Yep, so
nice.
This is what I would say is 2 25-pound tamps, a long dwelling time. It didn't quite come up like that one, but it comes up a little bit. So we'll see how well this really does. And last little pat, and we're good to go.
And now I'm just watching how much you focused on what you were doing to get a successful tamp. If it was successful, we'll find out.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is going to do all that stuff for you.
Exactly.
So, cool.
So let's go ahead and get this ready for our next shot, and we're all good to go there.
All right.
And let's see how well I do, being the professional that I am.
It's on, Zach. The world's going to find out right now.
If I'm just a false idol.
All right, here we go.
All right, let's get into this extraction. Nice, even, look at that.
Not bad, man.
I think it's pretty similar. This is gonna go a little bit slower though. I think I added on maybe a little too much pressure there.
Interesting.
It might have been like 30-30 on this one.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and find out. I do actually like my extraction on this, but it's very different. It's extremely different.
It's plenty even, there's no doubt about that.
Plenty even, but already this extraction and this flow is just completely different. So
I mean, we're talking 32 seconds. We were around 23.
So let's go ahead and bring up that extraction on the screen. Perfect. So this is going to be the difference between my guess of what that extraction was and what it actually is. So in the gray there, that was going to be the 225 pounds on that, and our actual extraction, where I'm guessing that I did the 225 pounds with that, and it's completely different. I was very off. I was only within 67% of a similar shot there. So I don't think I'm as good as I am. Maybe I've just been using this and relying on this way too much.
I mean, I think that's pretty cool. You know, the first few shots that we did, even with different plates, they were still very, very similar. So, I mean, this is an incredibly consistent tool, more consistent than even baristas that have been doing this for a combined, 26, 27 years. So, I've been pretty impressed playing with the BOSeTAMPER myself, and it's a lot of fun, and it makes testing around here super, super easy. It just kind of takes out a variable we don't have to worry about. Did I tamp exactly the same for this shot as I did that shot? So
yeah. And then some of the last questions here still look really smooth. Yeah, you can still get a great shot off of doing your own tamp and everything. It's more about consistency. Who's going to be tamping next? If you're dialing in, clearly me trying to match that dial in was very different.
Sure, I
mean,
it
when we were matching each other,
right?
It's 96% accurate.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, that was an extra 15 seconds on your shot. I mean, it was a drastic difference.
All right. And then Phil was actually asking if you could see the edge of the convex disc.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it is a little bit of a flat edge and a sharp edge. Oh, yeah. iPhone would be perfect. Brian, our producer back there, giving those great recommendations here.
And now it's not.
And it's upside down. All right. We're almost there, guys.
Now you'll see it's not terribly convex. There is just a slight kind of bevel on the actual face of the disc.
Yeah.
The edges are sharp and flat.
Yep.
And the actual convex shape is not too accentuated, just enough to kind of push things to the edge a little bit, but still promote evenness.
Yep. Yeah, so still just promoting that kind of flow. So it clearly does make a pretty big difference, but that's kind of it when it comes to the Bose. All the different kinds of heads that you get, all the different settings and how that really changes each thing. I think it makes a huge difference, especially if you have multiple people on your bar. This is the best way to get into consistency.
That's right.
So with that, it looks like we're just about out of time, but thanks for joining me, John.
Hey, thanks for having me, Zach. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and we'll see you next Friday on our live streams. We're going to keep this rolling every single Friday, so we will see you next time.
Thanks, y'all. Cheers.